Hello and welcome to episode 39 of the Kicking Back podcast. Today I'm joined by the wonderful Nathan Parker. Hello, Nathan.
Hello, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here, sir. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah,
It's
very
good to
well.
have you here, man. I'm
Very
looking
well.
forward to hearing some of your sweet poetry later. It's going to be good. It's going to be good stuff. And of course,
The
we have.
pleasure will be all mine.
The pleasure will be mine as well.
Am I?
And Matthew Campbell. Hello.
Hey man,
How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm also glad to have you here.
Yeah,
It's nice to have some of the old guard.
Yeah,
you
bring
know.
it back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, Nathan, for the people at home that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is you do.
I am from Blackpool. Always like to get that in.
Just get that straight in there.
Proud seasider. Yeah, from Blackpool. I'm a independent author and spoken artist. By night and by day, I'm a youth worker. And,
Cool.
The next adventure ahead for me is to combine those two things together.
Nice.
Wonderful.
So, how long have you been doing the spoken word?
Spoken
for?
word came about for me through lockdown, believe it or not.
Okay, right.
My previous encounters with literacy was young adult fiction, a couple of novels that I wrote, which were fortunately shortlisted for Lancashire Book of the Year. But both of them ended up shortlisted for Lancashire Book of the Year. But in the first instance, the first one, which I wrote and self-published, and I did that so that I could get a copy for my mum. And people started buying it, and then it was shortlisted for this amazing award in Lancashire, which is voted for by Year 9s across the county as to their young adult fiction book of the year. And that was probably a moment where I thought, oh, okay, right. I'm not just a guy who's written a book. I'm actually an author. I'm a creative writer. And schools and different people wanted me to come in and deliver workshops and stuff like that around this whole identity of being a normal lad that's actually into creative writing and has turned that into a product. And then lockdown hit, and I didn't have any. I'd found so much in the creative writing and connecting with people around that I didn't have an outlet.
Right.
So I went back to the drawing board and I kind of came back to this idea of maybe writing a book is a long process. Writing a poem is you could do it in 10 minutes. You know,
Yeah.
And that instant gratification was quite infectious. So I started to think, well, maybe if I just did a little bit more of that. And then this idea of recording myself and putting it out there to connect with people that way happened, and people started to connect, and it gained a little bit of traction and added another string to the bow with regards to creative writing and literacy, and became a literacy champion for Blackpool. And yeah, the spoken words thing just sort of took off from a social media perspective, and people started saying, oh, would you do this live when things start opening up?
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like the little kid inside of me that was like a little performer, but never really got to do that kind of stuff because I went to an all boys school, and
Right.
yeah, that kind of thing was quickly brushed away in the interest of not ending up down a toilet. So rediscovering this kind of like, I've always been a bit of a storyteller, and I like, well, I guess my dad would probably say I like being centre of attention, and yeah, Dad, you're right, I do. And so this idea of being on a stage and doing poetry was like, fuck yeah, go on, I'll have a bit of that. Then the realisation of actually what that meant dawned on me when I sat in a crowd in Manchester for the first time, thinking, fuck, I've got to get up there and do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's right.
And
That's right.
how was
Yeah,
it?
Fucking mint.
Was it? Yeah.
Oh, right. I thought you were going to
Terrible.
fucking shat
No,
myself.
it was
terrible.
It was so good. I shared that, it's my first time doing that, and the response from the crowd afterwards when I came back off stage and was chatting, how you mingle.
Yeah.
Some really lovely feedback, just people connecting with some of the messages that I included in some of my pieces, and that's generally what I try to do. I don't sell myself as this kind of master technician of the English language, because you only need to read some of my shit and you'd realise that I'm absolutely not that.
Yeah.
But in terms of taking experiences, personal, social, political, different things that are going on, and then translating them into words that may mean something to people. That's kind of what I've tried. That's the craft I've tried to fine tune, as opposed to worrying too much about the technical side of things.
Yeah, definitely.
That's it's interesting because obviously we've had other spoken word people on before, and there's seems to be a bit of a theme of people picking it up over lockdown. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It was either that or fucking banana bread, weren't it? So
Did you do the banana bread thing?
I didn't. No. I
Okay,
didn't, no.
it's poetry or that. Yeah.
I think there's a poem in that. Just let me
You
write
write that down, man. It's fine. So it's something you've never. It's funny that I always think it's strange that these things like kind of pop up out of nowhere,
Yeah.
seemingly. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
was there any sort of people before you started doing it? Was there any like people that you'd seen doing a similar thing? People that like inspired you, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're from round here, everybody will reference Tony Walsh, won't they?
yeah,
Yeah, we were just watching him a second ago.
And
Yeah.
JB Barrington,
Yeah.
he's fucking mint as well.
Yeah.
And a fella called Mark Grist, who is from Peterborough. He was a teacher, and then he's so his story. I'm not 100% sure on this. So Mark, if you're watching, I apologise if I get this wrong, but pretty sure that he tipped up to like a rap battle kind of situation with in his teacher outfit, like his suit and tie and all that. And obviously
Right.
all the younger, cooler kind of artists were maybe laughing at him and stuff. And he's gone in and absolutely smashed it out of the park, and it's ended up going viral on YouTube. And then he's ended up stepping away from teaching and going into this career of being a spoken artist, poet. And he does a really good poem called "It's Still a Fucking Poem," and that it links to a lot of the stuff we were talking about just previously and before we came on air, which is this idea that stop trying to refine poetry so much that it becomes inaccessible. You know, his thing is it could be this, it could be that, it could be the other, but it's still a fucking poem. It could be this, it could be that. You know, and it carries that theme throughout the poem. I took a lot of hope from that.
Yeah.
I took a lot of inspiration and thought, yeah, go on, Mark. Yeah, I'll have a bit of that. So yeah, I can't say I sat there watching, you know, reels and reels of spoken artists.
Yeah.
But on the same token, when I did see what, obviously John Cooper Clarke and people like that, but it wasn't like I went to spoken word nights and know some of the incredible people that I know now. You know, I think before getting into this, I think there was always something missing. There's always something missing for me. I'm quite open about my struggles with mental health and this idea of being congruent or incongruent and you know, operating inside and outside your true self.
Yeah.
And I think I'd gone quite a long time learning how to behave and be as a person based on
Yeah.
other people's expectations. And I think there was always something missing. You know, I had a brilliant life, a good upbringing, had its challenges, but hasn't everybody's. You know, wife, kid, car, job. On the outside, everything seemed rosy, but there was something missing, and I ended up having a breakdown. This was before, so again, this could have been a trigger for kind of thinking, "Fuck it, I'm going to write some poems and speak them on social media. Who gives a shit?" You know.
Yeah.
Because I came out the other side of that breakdown 4 or 5 months later on medication, having been through counselling and with a whole new outlook of maybe things don't have to be perfect. You know, maybe I don't have to. Maybe I can drop the ball.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I don't need to
definitely,
make
man.
sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably also a reason for giving it a go when it comes to the spoken word stuff. Yeah.
When you first like kind of started writing all this poetry, was it like mainly about mental health? Do you think was it more like kind of therapeutic?
I
Or,
mean,
like,
yeah.
self-therapy?
A big chunk of my poems are, you know,
Yeah.
influenced by my own experiences.
Yeah.
I find solace in making sense of what's going on inside my head by writing it down. It's almost like processing information there's a million thoughts going around. I know it's cliche, but
No,
it's
it's
the best way to
cliche
describe
for a
it. It's
reason,
just
though,
like,
isn't it?
oh, like
Definitely.
fog is there.
Yeah.
It's just cloudy. I can't see
Yeah.
anything. There's
Mm.
so
Yeah.
much going on, but I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah,
And
yeah, totally.
by writing about something, it allows me to
clear.
process it and
Yeah.
just almost park it over there. So
Yeah.
even the
yeah.
stuff I do around, social commentary or political stuff, that's me taking my frustrations or my confusion and putting it into words, and then processing it, compartmentalizing it, and then moving forward. And by
Yeah.
sharing it, the feedback I get is, oh shit, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Mm.
You found the words that I couldn't, kind of thing. And that, can't put a price on that for me,
Yeah.
to be able to
definitely, man.
do that for people. So yeah, I think it was rooted in mental health, but also I think I found that cathartic element and
Yeah.
thought, oh, I could use this.
Yeah.
So the first poem I wrote, I dropped to part-time in my job because I had this interest because of the books and the creative writing, and I had the interest from schools.
Yeah.
And I had like 8 schools lined up across the Northwest, and I thought, right, I've been in this job, it's made me ill. I'm going to drop to part-time because I still enjoy it, but I don't want to, I don't want my life to be ruled by it. And I'm going to go and do my own thing. And then lockdown hit. And then the schools were like, we're closing, mate. And I was like, oh my God. The first like gamble I've taken in my whole life,
Yeah,
is like,
it's gone tits
fuck,
up.
I've got
Yeah.
mortgage to pay, I've got a child to feed. So I ended up going back in time and doing night shifts for kids homes. My mate's got a few kids homes. He said, I've got some shifts. It's the graveyard shift. You have to stay awake all night. I was like, I'll do whatever. I've
Yeah.
got bills to pay, mate. And I was sat there at 4 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, I just thought, I'm going to have a bash at writing some of these things. I was sort of sat there feeling sorry for myself, thinking, what the fuck am I doing? I've gone 10 years back in my career. I've taken a gamble. It's not paid off. You're stupid for even thinking that it could, all that sort of stuff. You had a good job. You had security. Why have you kind of turned away from that? So I started just writing on my phone, and I ended up producing a poem called Fatherhood. And it was a poem about being a dad. And I think that was my way of reminding myself why I'd taken the risk, but also why I was sat doing a night shift
Yeah.
in a kid's home because I'm a father and I've got a child to feed. I've got children now, but at the time it was just the one. And I wrote this poem called Father, and I was like, I'm really proud of that. And that's the first one that I shared on my social media. I didn't speak it, I just shared it as text. And I think it was from a few comments and stuff that made me think, oh, go on then, I might write another one. And then
Yeah.
slowly that grew into speaking. But it was things that mean something to me.
Yeah.
Just going back to your question, things that
Yeah.
and that's one of my biggest messages with anything to do with storytelling. It's trust your lived experiences.
Yeah.
I think people think that there's no new ideas. Every story's been told, but it's not been told by us. So that's
Yeah.
what makes it unique, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm
totally.
going into like Instagram inspirational quotes here.
No,
Let's
go
do it.
ahead, man.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
so trust your lived experience and write about it.
Mhm.
Chances are someone else is going to go, I can relate to that.
That's it, yeah. And like the word you kept using at the start was connection, and
Mhm.
that's so important, isn't it? Like, it has to connect with people and resonate with people. So if you're talking about your honest experiences and you're being really authentic about it, like it would be hard not to connect with other people because we're basically all like in the same place. Like
Yeah.
you want to feel like you're alone with a lot of things, but it's just not true, is it? Like,
No, definitely.
so when especially if you have like the kind of bravery to talk about mental health and just be really honest, and like these are my experiences. Usually, you end up pulling other people through hard times as well through that. So
Yeah.
it's such an inspirational thing.
There's so I got a family that reached out to. So one of the other things that I do, I'm like an ambassador for a mental health charity in Blackpool. It's called Elliot's Place, and it's a community. Well, it will be a community still in its kind of forming stage at the minute, but it'll be a community of men, young men that support other young men. Nothing to do with a service, no assessments, no forms, no waiting lists, just lads supporting other lads through conversation, through activity. And unfortunately, Elliot is a young man from Blackpool who lost his battle with mental health last
Right.
year. And the family reached out to get me involved with writing a poem for his celebration because some of the words that I'd shared, they'd resonated with and found comfort in. And from there, that snowballed into me becoming an ambassador for this charity and us really kind of moving forward with developing that. So we've got a building and we're moving into building the community side now. So
Nice.
the connection is has got no bounds really. It's got no bounds. You know, you think, oh well, it's, if someone shares it on social media, that's great. But right the way through to somebody reaching out to create such a powerful moment like that, it's not to be overlooked.
No,
you know, and
definitely
I
not,
don't
definitely
think
not.
you can put all the kind of what's the, like technical elements you want on poetry and make it as far, you know, as unreachable as possible. But why would you want to do that
That's it,
when
man.
you can
Yeah,
do exactly what I've just described
Yeah,
with
totally.
telling stories through free verse or spoken word or poetry or whatever the fuck you want to call it?
Yeah.
Sitting there and telling a story based on lived experience. It's powerful stuff.
Yeah, definitely, especially for young people as well. Like if you're going into schools and doing the youth work and all these things, because I think a lot of young people probably like act out when they feel like they can't express themselves properly, and they've never been taught how to, or maybe even they've been told like they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
It's probably more of a problem with guys as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, like culturally, you know.
Yeah.
That's my gut instinct. But
Definitely, yeah. Lads are angry and disruptive,
yeah.
and girls are emotional, and you know that's the
Oh,
that's the
yeah, there's
stereotype.
stupid
And it's just
stereotypes,
like
isn't it?
a girl, you know, cutting a wrist is the same as a lad punching a wall. They're both forms of self harm and a way to try and manage emotion through taking back some kind of control. To just completely categorize differently.
Definitely,
And it's both are a travesty, but what's more of a travesty is that we can't recognise the same behaviour, just
Right.
a different mechanism. Yeah.
I just wanted to go because obviously we did talk about it a bit before the podcast, but do you want to tell us a little bit, like, so when you're going into the schools and stuff, like what sort of stuff you're doing in the workshops and stuff? 'Cause I thought it was really interesting. I think people would like to hear about it a bit more.
Yeah. When, like I say before, when schools approached me, I got a bit of imposter syndrome. Even though I'd written a book and it had been shortlisted for an award, I thought, what can I go in and teach young people? You know, when they've got English teachers that have got degrees in the English language, what can I possibly go in? So I sat and thought it through and thought, well, what are you good at and what do you know about? And the main undercurrent of anything that I go in and do, whether that's a session on narrative writing, whether it's on poetry, is all about taking things back to the most simple format, which is telling a story. And trying to take away some of those academic barriers that might exist for young people when it comes to writing, reading, you know, any kind of literacy. If you look at poetry and, you know, way back when it's in its original form, it was a spoken art form. It was, you know, people telling tales of war and battle and different, you know, stories from other worlds and all that kind of stuff. And they put rhythm and rhyme in it so that they could remember it. You know, and that to me is a bit more like what I'm talking about. And then what came later was the aesthetics, when they wrote them down, and poetry needed to look a certain way, it needed to be a certain way, and that's why it carries a lot of that, kind of stuff.
It's like gravitas, I get.
Yeah,
that, you know what I mean?
it does. Yeah, that gravitas, good word, I like that. And maybe it's lost a bit of that accessibility to regular folk. And
I agree, man.
I think the sessions within schools are all about trying to regain some of that interest and motivation and enabling young people to feel able to pick up a pen, write it down, or stand up and share a story that means something to them through, you know, a really basic form of free verse or poetry or like I say, whatever you want to call it. But the mechanism's there, you know. It's pick something, write down everything you want to say about that topic. I mean, this is my process for poetry. Write down everything I want to say about that topic, and then pick out little moments of, you know, little rhymes or little bits, themes that go together,
Right.
and start to build sentences and swap around and move them around, and before you know it, you build a story, and that's all. I just break that down and share that with young people. You know, there's no mystique with with my process. I don't go and lock myself in a ivory tower somewhere with my,
Really?
floral tea and just,
Yeah.
get in the zone for 3 weeks before I write a poem. It's just whatever comes, write down, pick out some bits and pieces and start to structure it. And that's all I'm doing with young people and showing them that it's possible and that they are capable.
Yeah.
I don't think I had ever had anything like that.
I was gonna say, I
my
wish I
experience.
had
Yeah,
something
'cause-
like that
but
when I was in school as well.
it had such a bad reputation that like if you ever like as a young adult told your friends that you would stand and write poetry, they'd be like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
Why would you ever want to do that?
Why would you want to do
weirdo?
that? Why would you want to put yourself through that? Yeah.
Why do you want to express yourself with words? That sounds.
I think I play on that a
Sounds-
bit.
yeah.
I start off by saying, right, poetry, what do we think? Come on, tell me what you really think.
Yeah.
Oh, it's boring, it's too
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, go on, what did you think when Miss said you had a poet coming in to talk to you? Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
And all that, and you build that, and then say, right, what would you say if we're going to write a poem today? Oh, I can't do that. Right. And then after the hour, when collectively we've wrote a poem on the big whiteboard about something that they can connect with, they're like, oh, fucking hell, yeah, it's not that bad after all, actually. It is doable. And obviously it comes with a caveat of, listen, your teachers are going to teach you about certain types of poems that have got certain rules, and you need to listen to that if you want to pass your exams.
Yeah.
But that's only a tiny little part of creative writing.
Yeah.
And there's so much more out there that you can do with words.
Definitely,
So there's a
man.
lot of that undercurrent to any. I mean, we'll frame a session depending on the school and the pupils' needs and what outcomes they're looking for. But a lot of the messages are the same around lived experience. Strip away that complication that comes with a lot of academia, get back to its core purpose and practice. Practice, and progress, not perfection.
That's
Don't
it,
wait
man.
for permission, just fucking do it. And it's not going to be the best, but so what?
Who cares?
Kick on. Try again next time.
I wish I'd had someone like you sooner, definitely. Because I think but you started writing poetry recently, haven't you? I've been writing lyrics for a while now, which is kind of, I guess, crossing the border kind of thing. And it's always that thing of it's not perfect enough, or it's not like I'm not saying the thing I want to say in the best way possible. So therefore, it's useless. Like, what's the point? Kind of, whereas, just progress. It gets better the more you do it and everything like that.
I tell myself this. I'm stood there in front of 30 young people saying all this. Yeah, and you need to do this, and then I'll be there on my phone going, "It's just not right. It's not good enough. It needs to be better."
Yeah.
So I'm telling myself this most of the time. But it's interesting you say about lyrics, because I've just collaborated on a song recently with a band from Blackpool. Who they'd released a song called Rat Race onto Spotify, and then I supported them at a hometown gig in July.
All right.
And then they approached me and said, "We want you to rewrite our song. We'll keep the choruses in. You do what you want with the verses." And it's just so got to work on writing, and it came like that. It just came, and I must have wanted to say whatever it was that was in there. Because it just came like that, boom, boom, boom. And then by the next week, we'd had it recorded and gone out on Spotify. And we did a charity gig at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool.
Oh, yeah.
And they asked me to go on. I was comparing and doing a bit of poetry and stuff in between acts. And we went on and performed it. And it was fucking well good. And I was like, wow, I've always loved music.
Yeah.
And just thought that, but it's so out of my reach to be able to create music because I don't know how to write music, I don't know how to play music. But by just being allowed to be involved in it that little bit, I was like, that's mint.
Yeah.
It is me, you know. Thank God for that mental breakdown.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? It's just like the year of saying yes. I'm just like saying yes to stuff.
Yeah.
Like even coming here, driving over, didn't know you guys before today.
Yeah.
I know that seems really silly, but to a lot of people, that's like, what? You don't know them and you're going to go over and have a chat on a podcast that's going to go out live on you. And it's just like, just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. Just, what's the worst that can happen?
That's exactly it. And why would it stop you trying? Even though what's going to happen? That's not an excuse to not try, is it?
Absolutely.
It's that thing of like, just not listen to that fucking idiot in your head that I always describe as the 5-year-old petulant child in your head that tells you can't do things and like that shit and it's not good enough. It's just like, like I sort of my dawning realization over lockdown as well, a bit of like a sort of a breakdown, and then just realize that that voice isn't like me. Do you know what I mean? It's not my. I'm not in control of it
Yeah.
at all. Like none of us are. But like I always thought that was me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
as soon as you like step back, you just like watch yourself. You know, like it just goes like about something, and you're like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
I know, I
You
do.
just catch
Yeah.
it, and then
Yeah,
like, and
yeah.
the thing is, it's so enticing
Yeah.
because it sounds like, well, for me anyway, in my head, it sounds like me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you do catch yourself just daydreaming about something, or like, do you know what I mean?
Something negative or something.
Yeah, for me, it's always like work. It's always like, oh, you need to do that. Oh, you've not done
Mhm.
that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you just take a step back, and you're like, oh fuck, man, it's
Yeah.
happened again.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny. Like I felt like I spent so much of my life like being dictated to by this thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
feel like we've all got the same thing, and the more people I talk to about it, you know, they look at it from different approaches. Like, you know, whether it's like a spiritual thing,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like you said, like you do it, expressing it through your writing and stuff. It's like it's all pointing to the same thing. You know, we all just have this stupid monkey brain
Yeah.
Yeah.
that just oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
constantly,
It's,
man.
it's the whole kind of sensing threat, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
so anything that's could be perceived as a threat. So us failing at something, or getting something wrong,
Yeah.
or being ridiculed, or whatever. That's our brain, isn't it? Saying, "Oh, we don't want to do that." Or,
Yeah,
"Oh, you need
yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Or make sure you do that." Or,
Yeah.
and that, I think, by what you've just described there, which is catching yourself. I never caught myself
Yeah.
for 10 years, 10, probably long, over 10 years, but it was close to 15 years. Never caught myself.
Mm.
Just went down just went down with it. And it wasn't until I sat in counselling and she said, right, you need to, when you catch yourself thinking like that, I was like, what do you mean when you catch yourself? Like when you, when you realise that you're thinking like that, you need to stop and say, right, you're thinking like that.
Yeah.
Look at the facts of the situation.
Yeah.
Don't catastrophize and stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, I could actually stop my thoughts from going,
Yeah.
and I know that sounds really ridiculous, but
No,
It's not- it
definitely
that
doesn't-
was
it
a
doesn't
real
sound
breakthrough
horrible, does
moment
it?
for
Yeah.
me. That was
Yeah.
like, and I'd be washing up and I'd be like, you're doing it,
Yeah.
actually out loud,
Yeah.
you're doing it. Come
Yeah.
on, look at the facts of the situation and just play out the facts, and then be like, you just kind of come to that realization that you're being that voice inside isn't right on this occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you
Yeah.
know, when you are listening to this thing, you're missing life
Yeah,
as it goes by. Do you know what I mean? And I always think this, like when I'm on like the tram or something, just like I get myself into like a good, you know, clear headspace. I just look out the window and like there's like a nice sunset or something. I'm like, this is beautiful, man. And then I look around and people are like on the phones, or I'm like, you're missing it.
yeah,
It's happening right now, and it's like I think, you know, this whole thing of like being on your phone, social media really doesn't
doesn't
help.
help. No, not
No.
at all.
It feeds that
Yeah.
monster, man.
Does.
It's,
Yeah,
it's,
it
it's
does.
horrible.
Because you're craving attention, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But there's studies in there to suggest it's similar withdrawal symptoms to coke.
yeah,
Which
yeah,
apparently is rings really true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
like anxiety of something happening that's not, and that thirst for
More.
validation
Yeah.
and reassurance
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
is it's there, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's so
man.
close, and you only
Yeah.
need to lose your phone for 5 minutes, and you
Oh yeah,
oh fuck, where's my phone? Shit,
Yeah.
I need to check. What do you need to check?
Yeah.
You don't need to check anything.
Yeah.
but
Exactly,
You're
man.
convinced that you
Mm.
do.
Yeah. So the education thing, because social media is amazing as well on the flip side, but you just want everyone from a really young age, especially because like most kids probably from like 12 have an iPhone now, right? And they're already like probably wanted to get into Instagram, or whatever.
That's probably top end of it.
Do you reckon?
I
Yeah.
reckon it's younger
Yeah,
than
it's
that.
mad,
Yeah,
isn't it,
I was
man?
trying to be conservative, but
Yeah.
you want everyone to just like buy into it as a tool. And maybe obviously, if you watch like Social Dilemma and stuff, they're far from perfect. They can be really, really toxic. So there's a lot of work to be done with social media. But as a concept, if you have everyone going into a mindset of they're already good enough, why do you need validation? Like the
Yeah, yeah.
validation thing always comes down to you'd need someone to be worse than you so you can be better than them.
Yeah.
So why are you putting other people down? Like,
No.
how do you know they're worse than you?
I know.
All these like really funny questions come out, don't they? So if we get past that, then it's purely just like an expressive tool, and you
Yeah.
can just share things. I love like putting things on Instagram now and just doing it like for no purpose. And if you enjoy it, then I've made your night slightly better.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And I say that, but I'll still have the thing of like, oh shit, maybe it's
Yeah.
not good enough. Like, that comes creeping in, and it's like, wait, why would that again? Why would it stop you from trying? So yeah, you don't. The validation thing is ridiculous because you don't even have to be better than anyone else, and you would never even know whether there is no leaderboard.
I know.
You know that someone's sat on top of. And
It's all inside your own. It's that
It's all-
voice.
yeah,
It's that
it is,
voice
man.
coming out.
And
going,
who's that?
Yeah.
You know, when you have a relationship with yourself, you say there's me and there's myself, and if you say I love myself or I hate myself, it's like who the hell's this self, and
Yeah.
who's the one who's going around loving it? And,
Yeah,
or like,
yeah, yeah.
You know, so you can be talking to yourself and you're saying you're the worst. It's like who?
Yeah.
Like, if that's me that they're saying it. I had this conversation with this singer called Sam Seth, and we are just like bouncing off each other with it, and we're both just going like yes, like so obviously
Yeah.
I love that when you realize how not alone with it you are. like,
Yeah, yeah.
and that voice like it gets a lot of people so far now because it can motivate you to do more. So I think a part of it is maybe your subconscious is saying you are capable of more, and the way that comes through is this. But then you need to be okay with yourself too.
Yeah.
There's no point saying you're capable of more, so therefore you're never gonna land. There's always gonna be something.
Yeah,
Do you guys have that like if you've achieved something and like say it was like a recital or something like that? You're working at it for months, and you thought that was going to be a moment when you've landed.
Yeah.
So I'll achieve this, and then I'll
And
feel
that's it,
that's-
yeah.
and then that lasts for like a day,
2 seconds.
2 seconds maybe.
There's a
you're
void,
lucky.
isn't there? There's
Yeah.
a void after
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah,
did it's funny you say that. A poem called "Searching for the Clearing," which is
Mm.
all about you just always just searching for that. If I can
Yeah.
get through this,
Yeah.
if I get through this moment, I'm white knuckling it for now. But if
Right,
I can
yeah.
get through this, then I'll be
Yeah.
all right. That's
Yeah.
what that poem's
yeah,
about.
yeah,
So I could definitely relate to that.
yeah. It's
And the
interesting.
self-talk thing is so important.
Mhm.
You know, I think we have this thing, don't we, being British, of like low self-esteem tennis. It's like,
Mm.
you know, you were my new poem's shit. 15 love, and then you say, oh, you think your poem's bad? You want to
Yeah.
hear my new song, 15 all. Oh,
Yeah.
I tried practicing mine last night, and my
Yeah.
voice was wobbling.
Yeah,
30,
yeah,
15.
yeah,
You know,
exactly,
I can't even remember my chords, and it's just this whole race to the bottom to see
Yeah.
who's the worst.
yeah, yeah,
And that's
Yeah.
just weird.
yeah.
I mean, the opposite end is Americans. They have no
Yeah.
problem with that.
yeah,
But I guess it's just somewhere in the middle would be quite
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
when
that's
you-
it,
I'm fine.
man.
I'm fine as I am. I'll try my hardest, and
Yeah.
I'll give back to people as much as I can, and make the world a better place. And I'm also just fine. Like,
Yeah.
I'm having a good time. Sounds so simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's simple when you say it.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
you try to do
By the
it,
way,
you're
I
like,
do not have this down at all. This is just
I
what I'm
know.
going for.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Right, Nathan. We're going to chat some more shit in a bit. But first, we're going to hear some of your sweet, sweet poetry. So,
Let's
do you
do it.
want to make yourself get over there, bro?
Yeah.
Get yourself ready.
Sweet.
And then we'll hear some of those delightful poems we've been talking about. But yeah, if you are enjoying what you see, then please subscribe to us on YouTube. We're going to be having different episodes every week. We've got spoken word artists, we've got musicians coming on, we've got painters, we've got all sorts of things. We are also doing a mental health, 4 episodes special this month. We're going to be recording this month and then putting them out later on. We're going to be speaking to psychologists, mindfulness teachers, all sorts of things, just all based around this sort of stuff. If you find it helpful, then, tune in on YouTube. There's episodes will be coming out. You can listen to them on a podcast. It's going to be great, man. It's going to be great. Matt?
Lovely. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's
I'm
going to be
excited.
good, man.
I was just thinking, it's just so funny thinking when we met, like however many years ago, like 7 years ago, 8 years, something like that.
Might be 8
Like
now,
we
you
would
know.
not have talked about anything like this.
No,
Definitely
no.
not like in a kind of unapologetic way, like, and definitely not being totally honest, which is very exciting, isn't it? 'Cause then you think, I don't know, if it wasn't for lockdown, maybe it would have taken longer as well. Like,
Yeah,
'cause it's kind of
definitely.
like the more life challenges you, probably the more you can be brought out of it as well.
I definitely feel like there's an element of you have to go a certain amount. You have to go through enough bullshit
Yeah.
to be like, this is where the bullshit line is, and then
Yeah,
you go
exactly.
past that.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, totally.
So I feel like there is
So-
an element of needing to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get
Yeah,
to
yeah,
that much,
yeah.
and then. But I know what you mean. I
Yeah.
think lockdown, even though it was shit, it's done a lot of favors for a lot
Yeah,
of people.
yeah.
Definitely, man.
I
How
think
you feeling, Nathan? You feeling ready? Okay, bro. Well, people at home, what camera were we on, George? I can't bloody see. Middle one? Oh, that one. Okay. There's no light on it for some reason. Nathan's going to be performing some of his poetry in a second. We're just going to have a short little break, and then you'll hear some of this lovely stuff. So we'll see you in a second for some poetry. Goodbye. Hello, 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 and welcome to the Kicking Butt Podcast.
Okay, so this one's called Man Up. We men are made up by a series of bullshit folk stories, passed down from generation to generation, predetermining our vision of glories, innately protective of our territories, whilst aimlessly trying to live up to society's masculine inventories. We're taught that we should stand our ground and fight, but overlooked is the fact it pays to be bright, to first see the light in others before exercising our claims of being hard and hunting at night. Smoking weed is sold as a statement of teenage prominence, living the dream through playground dominance, bonding over the highs and establishing commonness. But they forget to mention that for some of us it messes with our head in those quiet moments when we're filled with dread. But we'll follow our mates down the rabbit hole anyway because we're easily led. Drinking hard and drinking fast, the promise that the party days will forever last. Yet childlike innocence is lost with every single glass until we're supping back to suppress the past. Sniffing, popping, dabbing too, whatever's knocking about amidst the crew. I'm not saying that recreational drugs are going to ruin you, but if use increases beyond the odd few, there's a greater chance of us feeling blue. And nobody ever stopped to tell us the realities in our youth. That whilst having a great time and burning down the roof, we may grow up trapped in a cycle of drink and drug association, and that's the truth. Men get depressed. Men feel the weight, anxiety-ridden and consumed with self-hate whilst we sit there worrying and overthinking our fate. Treat 'em mean and keep 'em keen. Warped ideas of relationships, possessive and green. Porn doesn't help, it sets an unhealthy scene. Unrealistic expectations rooted by the age of 16. That men should be this and women should do that. That sex is about all kinds of crazy shit when you go into bat. If only we were taught that love is about care, about respect, and about building a peaceful habitat. A young lad like you should be out sowing your seed, hungry for validation, acceptance, fulfilling an unmet need. Insecurities manifest though, and play out as immature greed, texting at speed, a shameful deed. Boys will be boys, by order or decreed. And don't forget the pressure accrued by looking the part. Chiseled abs, pecs and arms before we even start. Is that what matters, or what's inside our heart, or if we're thinking smart? Maybe that's what should count on the masculinity chart. Provide for our families. Be a good sport. Remember all the things that we've been taught before we're sold down the river for fast cars, expensive clothes and the shoes we should never have bought. Down to the bookies for an acca, something we learned pretty hasty. The favourite in the 315 at Haydock looks pretty tasty. Flashing the cash, wages gone in a dash. Chasing losses and being rash. Popping champagne with our winnings was such a catch. Until we're punting on the dogs, the horses, and how many fucking corners there's going to be in a match. Then drowning in sorrow as our savings disappear down the hatch. Brave smiles and conversation filler. All the while, thoughts are getting shriller. Is it any wonder that so many succumb to the silent killer? And so when it all gets too much, the drink, the drugs, the money, the image, we don't dare to cry. Men are supposed to be strong and tears we're deceived to defy. No matter how desperate and hard we try, we just don't feel confident enough to ask why. We're expected to man up, to solve it all and to be that guy. Of course, none of this is set in stone. The struggle is real, but we're not on our own. We need to normalise that it's okay for men to have a little moan. Maybe eat a little bit better, get some fresh air and spend less time on our phone. Perhaps lasting change can occur if the wisdom from our mistakes is available to loan, but whatever it is, the next generation of young men need to be freed from the prehistoric burdens of masculinity on their quest to be grown. Nice one, nice one. This so that obviously is exactly what it says on the tin. It's my experiences of masculinity growing up, the pressures that are accrued, and trying to do the right thing or figuring out what the right thing is over the course of your teenage years, and yeah, trying to put that down into a few words. This next one's called Working Class. Don't dismiss or pity me because I'm working class. Because we both have to work, me and our lass. Because my granddad drank in boozers that were supplied by Bass. You know, we just get things done without fuss or sass. If it was up to me, I'd smash straight through that ceiling of glass. Our nation, nay, the world, built by people of our stature, yet our collective efforts and achievements seem reluctantly captured. Instead, the upper echelons of our so-called civilized society would rather fracture our commonalities, our resolve, our love and our rapture. Graffiti art, the rag and bone cart, on our sleeves we wear our heart with 100% effort given to everything, no matter our part. Terraced houses made of Accrington brick, key workers galore making our country tick. Tough times and struggles just trying to make things click, whilst the cabinet release another loaded statement made by the next pompous prick. I take objection to any surprise that we might be intelligent, because what, we went to schools that, let's just say, aren't the most elegant, or because in the more simple things we find a cause to become celebrant. Maybe it's just because our lives and our wisdom to the elite just ain't that fucking relevant. The promenade stalls, the overalls, the rise and falls of our emotional walls. We might have moved on from meat and two veg, or our car might have the latest reg, but we're bound by an age-old working class pledge to take care of our own, especially those close to the edge. Lower paid jobs having to work twice as hard, from positions of power we're exclusively barred, dancing with the devil of debt and his credit card. Before some of us are even born, our fate is sealed, our brush is tarred. The high street, worn feet, the stories from the people we meet, and the imprint of an old man's arse on his favourite seat. As kids, we'd be equals and play in the park, till the lights came on and the cobbled streets turned dark. Before the innocence of childhood and having a lark was replaced by being told where, when, and at who we should bark. Workers' rights and union action. Our comparative wages are only a fraction. So escaping to the weekend is a recurring reaction, because making memories in those carefree moments just provides us with so much more traction. Tired frowns, hand-me-downs, the immersions on, get into your dressing gowns, beans on toast, not likely to boast, a ritual Sunday roast, working class people, the people I love the most. Nice one. So this, I'm going to do one more, if that's all right, guys. And this is probably the one that catapulted me into this arena where I'm performing live gigs and coming on podcasts and shit like that. So we'll chat about that afterwards. But yeah, this one, some people say it's grim up north, and I say fuck off. This one's called To Be Northern. Let me tell you a story why I'm proud to be from up here. We stand together in times of fear, put the world to rights over a pint of beer. You see, the northern spirit is unique. We greet strangers with a cheer. Our sense of humour is top, and we say things are dead good. Got to have gravy on everything if you're from our neighbourhood. We do things for folk and don't expect a fee, just maybe a slice of cake and a nice strong cup of tea, and we make the time to ask, how you doing? And how's your Lee? Rita, Sue and Bob too, talking about local bands that are new, getting to know somebody you've just met in the queue, or chunnering about their life story in the loo. Oasis, the Stone Roses, the Charlatans and Mega Mate, The Smiths, James, and so many others that are great. Paul Heaton, Ian Curtis, Peter Hook, take a bow. And don't forget, we also know how to have a fucking row. Round our way, there's a light that never goes out. Richard Ashcroft, Pulp, the Beatles with Twist and Shout. If you stepped out of line as a kid, your ears will get a clout. Mop it all up with bread and butter if you're ever in doubt. I wear my northern badge with honour and I stand mighty and I stand tall. Alongside comedy icons like Ken Dodd, Carolina Hearn and Cannon and Ball. I say hey up at the start and ta-ra at the end of a call. And I leave my big coat at home, even though the temperature might fall. We drink Lucasade if we're ever poorly. We've got towns like Skipton, Kendal, Bury and Chorley, the Lake District, Peak District, the Yorkshire Dales too. Scraps from the chippy and belting pie shops, we've got a few. We've got Jessica Ennis Hill and Marcus Rashford. Connection and good times give us so much more than cash could. We're not flash, just confidently kind round my neck of the wood. Hold doors open and give up chairs as my old man says you should. Our kid could be your brother. It could also be your mate. When we're gagging for a drink to end up in any state. We've got Northern Soul, which is cool as fuck, dancing on talky floors. From Stoke-on-Trent to Blackpool Mecca, or through Wigan Casino's doors. We brought the world Vimto. Billy Elliot, Danger Mouse as well. Love Arts. The sweets, not the kind that made you dance your tits off and your eyes proper swell. Kellogg's Cornflakes, Acid House, Marks and Spencer and Beacon Fell. People of our region have gone down in history. The first computer, the Football and Rugby League and the whole light switch mystery. Arctic Monkeys, Shed 7. A guy called Gerald and people with One Night in Heaven. Barms, oven bottoms, tea cakes. For this, we're forever having a poll, but one thing it's not up here is a fucking bread roll. We call our dinner RT, and that's 5 p.m. on the dot. The terms love, cock, and pet are endearing, certainly sexist, they're not. Whether we wear our top button done up as a statement of fashion, or we've packed the dance floors at the Hacienda, the Syndicate, Wigan Pier, or Tall Trees with passion. One thing that will always, always keep our feet firmly on the ground is that most people you meet are usually fucking sound. Thank you. Yeah, get me on Instagram at Parker Words. Or I've got a Facebook page, which is Parker Book. Twitter, but I don't really use Twitter actually, so you're probably best swerving that one. Nice one.
Enjoying what you see so far? Make sure you head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/recrooms, and hit that subscribe and bell button. We're putting out new live sessions and podcasts every week for you to discover new artists. If you're out and about, you can also subscribe and listen to all our podcasts in all good podcasting places. We've just opened our brand new merch store over at etsy.com. You can buy yourself some delightful Kicking Back Podcast t-shirts, jumpers, mugs, stickers, and much more. We're going to be keeping this store up to date with new merch all the time, so head on down to etsy.com/shop/recrooms to get yourself some sweet new threads. Anyway, that's enough from me. Time to get on with the show. See you in a sec. I really enjoyed that.
Thanks.
That definitely,
thanks for having me.
that resonated.
Yeah, that was it.
It's just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's like I've never heard. It's the same when we had Johnny Lindsay on. I think he's the first guy that I'd heard kind of do this stuff. I was like, this is fucking awesome, man. Because like, you know, I'm from Manchester. You know, was born in Bury, and like, you know, I've always kind of had I've never really connected with that part of my identity, and then like just listening to you guys, and we had who do we have? We had John. Do you know John Ellis?
Oh yeah, from the yard, through work at the yard. Yeah,
we had him on the other week, and he was telling me loads of these different artists, like just Manchester artists. I went and like researched them all. Oldham Tinkers was one. That's that blue album up there.
all right, yeah.
I listened to it. I was like, this is fucking awesome. just like proper northern, like bunch of like 8-year-old like northern blokes just talking about like Manchester Hills and all this shit. I was like, this is fucking great, man. And you're part of that pack, bro. It's like
Yeah,
it's
nice.
the northern pride.
The Northern Allegiance was there.
I like it, man. I really, really dig it. So
I think we get put down a lot.
Definitely, man.
Obviously, with the powers that be and the narrative that exists.
Yeah.
With northern people and how we're to blame for lots of things.
Yeah.
When actually, fucking mint.
Yeah.
And unless arguably we do more, and that's something to be proud of. That's part of what galvanized me to write that To Be Northern poem. And I proper Manchester, the page, the social media page, Proper Manchester.
Yeah.
They shared To Be Northern, and it got like nearly 1 million views on their Facebook page.
Yeah.
And that's what lifted me out of Blackpool, really, and recorded myself in my living room with no pants on turned into people actually wanted to hear what I had to say, and I've made some unbelievable mates and connections along the way. Had opportunities that I never would have had the keys for those doors opening. And that simple act of them sharing that poem, lifted, like I say, out of Blackpool to become a Northwest spoken artist, and not just a lad from Blackpool who, I did a few poems about a club called the Syndicate in Blackpool, and that got loads of traction locally. But anyone outside of Blackpool would have just been like, I don't really know what you're on about, mate.
Yeah.
But that To Be Northern one lifted me out of that sort of realm and opened me up to other people, and that has completely transformed my life, really. I didn't want to like overstate it, but it's transformed my life because I'm performing, in Manchester or in different places now, which I just never would have been open to.
Yeah. And you fucking own it, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
So
relatively, like you it seems like, well, you say you're fairly new to it, but like it doesn't come across, man. It's just like you definitely, it's that thing of like being genuine. Do you know what I mean? It definitely is completely 100% genuine. I think that's what's so attractive about it. And
Nice
it's just
one, man.
like,
Thank you.
it's great, man.
Yeah, following on from that, like, did you find that kind of performance style like came naturally to you, like from your first show? Because I feel like with Johnny as well when he was on, and I've not seen a lot of that style of poetry before. But like we keep calling it like northern poetry. Is that like, is it like a genre? Like, would you say within its own right, or has no one really labeled it yet?
There's quite a lot of hashtags of northern poets, northern poetry.
Yeah, exactly,
so
yeah.
I guess
You call that. Yeah.
I think there does seem to be an element of similarity.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you're talking about, but across poets from the north, where you connect. Oh yeah, you're similar to him, even though you talk about two different things.
Yeah, definitely.
You might have two different delivery styles. I don't know if it's the accent. I don't know if it's the raw nature of it, or that kind of authenticity.
It's also like the kind of melody, like which obviously goes hand in hand with the accent, but there is definitely like a northern melody to the poetry.
Extending the end of the sentences.
There's all those little things.
That's my Blackpool accent. Really lends itself to that.
It's just,
but the end of the sentences seems to kind of be quite similar as well. But I guess there'll be poets from the north who say, actually, I don't associate it with that kind of style of poetry. That's a little bit more. I'm a bit more this kind of way. But yeah, I mean, I would have no problem being chucked in with, Johnny and all the rest of the people from the north who don't really give a fuck.
I think that's what I love about it, man. It's not, it's not flowery. There's no like fucking bullshit. It's just like fucking straight at it. Like, just here it fucking is. Like, take it or leave it.
This is what I think.
Yeah, and I love that. And like, it's not. I know we talked about it before, but like, poetry is something I never like really connected with before. And then hearing this stuff, I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like, and it's so inspiring. Like, like to put, like, I've just started like writing poetry and stuff now, just because like. Just because why not?
Yeah,
man?
you can.
Totally.
Doesn't have to be for anything, or do you know what I mean? It's just like, just do it. I think it's
Yeah.
great, man. I think what you're doing is fucking awesome.
No, I am new to it. I'm loving it. You know, I'm embracing the opportunity. And I think I'm 34 now. I've got 2 kids, so it's not like the kind of nipping off to different places to do gigs every night
Yeah.
isn't possible. So when I do get the chance to fly over to Manchester and do a live performance, you know, I was with the Saying, which is a night Saying,
I was going to bring them up.
Skittles,
Yeah.
and Dan and Gianna who pulled that together. Fucking unbelievable, eclectic mix of rappers, MCs, poets, storytellers, and that was where that was where I got my breakthrough, my first performance.
Yeah.
And the reception I got there made me think, similarly to getting shortlisted for the award for the book, made me think, fuck, I am a spoken artist. I didn't have it in my bio for ages. I kept it out. Same way I kept author out for ages, because I just thought, I'm going to get found out. I'm not really that.
Yeah.
And then by getting the reception that I got, and
Yeah.
I thought, oh no, actually, yeah, you are this thing. And so I appreciate every opportunity that, because I know what the alternative is.
Yeah.
Of being, like I say, I've loved my job. Loved my job, and but that Monday to Friday salary based, you know, doing the work that's instructed by somebody else, that's
Yeah.
based on certain key performance indicators or outcomes or whatever. It's great, but there's no creative license there.
That's
So
it, man.
being able to exercise that and then being able to do it with people, with other creatives. Never saw myself as a creative in my 20s. Now I can't get enough of being a creative and you know, chatting to other creatives and let's make something, let's do something, let's collaborate on something. It's fucking mint.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
I always like wonder this as well, because obviously I surround myself with like creative people. Now I'm like, surely everyone must have a little bit of a need. Do you know what I mean? To like to want to do something, even if they, like I said, like they don't necessarily know that they want to do it, but surely like, because it is so therapeutic and it is so like, you know, rewarding and all that. It's like, and I always just wonder, like, the people that aren't being given the opportunity, or like, you know, aren't being told that, oh, you can't do that because you don't have this skill set or whatever. I'm just like, they're missing out on a huge part of being a human being.
Massively, yeah. I think for me, there was a lot of letting go that needed to happen.
Yeah.
To embrace and commit to the moment and let go of these like inhibitions that I had about not making yourself look a dick, you know, or suggesting something that's stupid or not good enough or not creative enough or not you know, edgy enough or all these kind of things. Just like, there was a lot of letting go that I needed to do and just kind of committing to the moment and just thinking, fuck it. And it's like performing like that. I'm becoming more and more confident and comfortable at just going bang, right, commit to the moment, instead of being like, oh, there's cameras there, or oh, there's some people that I don't know, oh, you know, I better just style it out. But by styling it out, you look more awkward. So really committing to the moment and letting go of kind of preconceived ideas of what I am.
Yeah.
As a 34-year-old lad from Blackpool, you know.
Yeah, because they're just ideas, aren't they? That's it. Like, how do you know they're the right ideas anyway? Yeah.
No, there's a load of stigma that comes with being from Blackpool. You know, Blackpool gets beaten over the head so much. Oh, we should have done my Blackpool poem. Next time.
If you
Go for it,
hit us with a bit of Blackpool.
I'll do it
next time. All right. I do really want to get the Saying lot on. I've got this idea of like just getting them in and having like 4 or 5 different like spoken word artists, and someone come in, chat to him for 10 minutes, or another one, just have like a bit of a conveyor belt of stuff.
Some unbelievable talented people.
There is
who just haven't been given the stage. And that community gives you the stage. It gives you the opportunity, and I think I'm probably more from. I was more sports than creatives. So growing up, football and sports was always my thing. And I always just assumed that every sector would be competing to be the best.
Yeah.
Like it is in sport.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I found with this creative, and it might be just I feel unlucky. It might be really ruthless, and I imagine it is ruthless in some corners, but everyone wants everyone wants you to do well.
Yeah,
Everyone
definitely,
wants
man.
you to do well, and it's not a competition to see who's the best because everyone's different, and that's what's beautiful about it. So I felt that really strongly at saying that they were willing me to do well, and I felt it. It like lifted
Yeah.
me up on the
Yeah,
stage,
I love
and
that.
thought, yeah, this is what it's all about.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Skittles is your man.
I know. I've tried to. It's hard to nail him down.
Yeah.
But we will get him on,
Yeah.
man. We will.
If I speak to Dan or anyone,
Yeah,
in the
definitely
next
do,
few
man.
weeks or
I'd love to
whatever,
get him
I'll
on.
let them know. But they are, class. Really, really good group of raw creatives that are fucking well talented.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
Have you got any events or anything coming up?
Yeah. So on Thursday,
Oh,
I'm going to leave the air quotes down here and say I've got my first headline
Nice.
gig.
right
Yeah.
there,
Yeah,
right
right there.
fucking there,
Whereabouts?
man.
So it's at Bootleg in Blackpool,
Lovely.
which is a really, really cool venue in Blackpool. Actually.
Right,
We've got so many great things, but it's just got such shit press everywhere you go.
it does, man.
And just little quirky indie venues like Bootleg have had such good acts on.
Yeah,
Up and coming music acts or different artists and stuff. So I went to school with the lad who owns Bootleg.
oh
So
nice.
kind of just went, I've got this idea. And he went, fucking let's do it. Yeah, so me and one of my pals have teamed up on this night, and he's going to DJ, and we've got some poets coming over to be support acts, and then I'm gonna headline that baby
Beautiful.
Sweet, man. So that's on Thursday.
Thursday in Blackpool. Yeah.
So if anyone is in the Blackpool area and wants to check out
You know
some,
where to come, yeah. A few tickets left.
who
Not
else,
many though.
Who else is doing it?
So we've got Leon the Pig Farmer.
I've heard of Leon.
Leon's
I've seen some
top
bits.
bloke,
He's
top
good,
bloke,
man.
yeah. Leon the Pig Farmer. We've got Amy Harris. We've got Anthony Briscoe, Johnny Lindsay, famous
Nice.
Johnny
Yeah.
Lindsay.
Yes.
And also Ruth Cockburn, who is a comedian / singer / poet. So
Okay.
I basically just said to Ruth, do whatever you want. I think she's going to do poetry, but she's fucking piss funny as well. So
Right.
she's like performed at Edinburgh Fringe and stuff. So we've got a really good mix of acts. And, when Rob and myself created this concept of could we do a night where you DJ in between acts and stuff like that, and people were saying, oh yeah, you can't do that in Blackpool, and I'm like, just fucking watch. Just watch. Wait till Thursday, mate, because it's going to be mint. So yeah, we're really buzzed for it. Proper
Sick,
buzzed for
bro.
it. I think we've sold like close to 100 tickets.
Awesome.
People on the door and stuff. So hopefully we'll get a good atmosphere in there.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Yeah. So I've got that. I've got a few other bits and pieces actually. I'm doing featuring on a night called Moetry, which is a London-based poetry collective, but they come to Manchester every now and again and do a Manchester gig. So,
Oh, right, okay.
So I'm gonna feature on that. That's mid-November, and 3rd of December, I've got a gig which is Nathan Parker and Friends at Northern Lights in Ancoats. It's actually a florist. Well, it's a florist and homeware emporium.
How did you end up
So
doing
again,
that?
The poem I mentioned before,
Yeah.
that Proper Manchester shared,
Yeah,
and then that
yeah.
kind of connected with who I now consider a really good pal of mine, Lenny from Northern Lights Home, and he's a really cool guy. Got a florist, but in August we converted the florist into a really cool like acoustic type space, and we
Okay.
did a wine and cheese night. And people bought tickets, and it was unlimited wine and cheese. And I did spoken word throughout the evening, so I did like 3 slots throughout the evening.
Right, okay.
And we had a bit of music on in between and stuff like that. And it was killer, absolutely brilliant. So we're running it again with a little bit more to it.
Yeah.
So
Sick.
Friday, 3rd of December, Ancoats. That's where it's going to be going down.
Put it in your diaries,
Yeah.
people.
And again, some more, other spoken artists coming along and supporting. So there's going to be some top quality action going down in Ancoats that night.
Ancoats,
Yeah.
mate. Nice,
I can
man.
see becoming like Manchester spokesperson. So it's like,
Well,
like motivator.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
appreciate that, mate. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll start with Blackpool and see
Yeah,
how I
yeah.
get on. Yeah, I don't want to
Brand
step on
Yeah.
toes over here, you know.
Yeah, I
But yeah, and then I've got a couple of gigs in December. Couple supporting a band called the Parker Monkeys. They're a cover band, but they're fucking mint. They do like an indie disco live. Absolutely mint. All your tunes that you want from a night out, you know.
Right. Okay.
Arctic Monkeys, Oasis, Stone Roses, all fucking brilliant. And then, so I'm supporting them in Preston and in Blackpool, doing a Friday, Saturday. So a little West Lancashire tour. Yeah,
Nice,
yeah.
man.
Next stop Glasgow. And then on the 18th, I'm at Blackpool Tower doing a gig there,
Nice.
supporting the band All Right that I mentioned. We collaborated on the
Yeah,
song
yeah,
before.
yeah, yeah.
They've got a
Yeah.
gig at Blackpool Tower. They're being supported by Columbia. I don't know if you've heard of Columbia. They're like an
No.
upcoming indie band as well. I think they're from Liverpool.
Okay.
And a couple of other bands, and I'm going to go on and do a bit there as well. So
Sick.
quite a busy couple of months.
Yeah,
ahead,
man. You're a
yeah.
busy
Sounds like-
boy.
yeah.
Busy
Cool.
boy.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about the books that you wrote.
Oh yeah.
The Granville.
Granville series. Yeah.
Right. What are they about?
So, Granville is a forgotten seaside town.
I've never even heard of it, so
Yeah.
it's definitely forgotten.
Well,
man.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
based loosely on a town you might know called Blackpool.
Yeah.
So Granville is a forgotten seaside town. It's overrun with poverty, crime, drugs, and there is a drug kingpin that basically rules the underworld of that town.
Right. Okay.
And the story follows a young lad called Tommy, and the first book is called The Disappearance of Timothy Dawson. Timothy Dawson being Tommy's dad.
Right.
Tommy's believed for his whole life since he was 2 that his dad walked out on him. And he was left to kind of fend for himself, living with his mum and brother who are heroin addicts.
Right.
And yeah, information comes to light that maybe his dad's disappearance wasn't all it seemed, and him and his sidekick Kirsten go on unpicking that thread, and it takes you into the darkest corners of the town and reveals its disturbing underbelly. And then the second book is The Rise of the Chemist, which is the follow-on.
Right.
It's kind of a new storyline, but same,
Yeah.
overarching story around.
Yeah.
So the drug kingpin is called Smiler,
Right.
and Tommy and Smiler's feud is, flared up in the first book. But the second book is about Tommy finding himself catapulted into the middle of trouble again, which is there's a new synthetic drug called Charge, which is teenagers are ODing on basically.
Right.
And Tommy finds himself right in the middle of that, and kind of
Nice,
all about
man.
that unfolding really. And
And what sparks you to write those books?
so I think I had it. I think I had this particular story in me somewhere,
Yeah.
and I was at like a workshop at the Grand Theatre in Blackpool, which is to do with my other job, my youth work job.
Yeah.
It's all about building resilience through creative arts. And the last 5 minutes, they just said, we want you to focus on you for 5 minutes and just write a creative pledge to yourself for 2017, it'll have been. So I wrote, people saying, I'm going to take dancing lessons, I'm going to learn how to play the piano, and I'm going to write a short story. Then they made us stand up and tell everybody, then revealed that we were X amount more likely to do it if we'd told people. So I was like, right, you fucking stitched me up there. So I told all these people that I'm going to write a story. And I thought, no, fuck it. Actually, you've meddled around with this idea of wanting to create something for a while.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, and I read, I remember reading. I use this as my opening gambit when I go to schools and say, never forget that first book that I read independently. I'd love to stand here and say it was one of the classics, like Lord of the Flies or Of Mice and Men. But unfortunately, it wasn't. It was Goosebumps, and
Hey, nothing
I
wrong with
lived
Goosebumps,
for
man.
that book, man.
Yeah, it's great.
The little bumpy cover and that.
Yeah.
Phantom in the Auditorium. And I was like, I want to fucking create that. I want to do to somebody else what that book has just done to me.
Yeah,
And obviously
yeah.
I was 10. This was pre-Warbeck, which was the all-boys school that I referenced before. And, you just lose that spark. You know,
Yeah.
survival takes over and kind of get more involved in different things, and that kind of slipped. So when I was presented with this opportunity, I was like, oh, you twisted my arm. I'm going to have to write this story now. I think there's part of me that was like, been waiting for this opportunity.
Yeah.
And then I had certain things that I wanted to write about. I wanted to talk about. You know, growing up, my brother's a recovering heroin addict, so growing up was tricky.
Yeah.
You know, we had a great relationship. We've got a great relationship. But there was a middle period where that was difficult. You know, living at home with him whilst he was going through a lot of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
withdrawing 1 minute, back, got missing the next, prison, rehab, all that kind of stuff. And I kind of wanted to write about that, but without writing about it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you reference there that Tommy's older brother was a heroin addict. So a lot of my influence, like Tommy's not me and Derek's not my brother, but the relationship that they've got is scarily accurate to
Yeah.
the relationship that me and my brother have had over the years. And there was just certain things that I wanted to write about, and I just created these characters in this story where I could write about real things and hide behind fiction.
Right. Okay.
And I guess that's where this idea of using your lived experience in your writing
Okay,
can be really powerful, and it can be really effective, because I kind of accidentally bumbled through it and started chatting to someone about self-publishing or publishing, and said, "Oh, do you know you can self-publish?" I'm like, "No, I didn't know that." "Oh yeah, Amazon do it." Amazon, yeah, it was back when Amazon were all right, before you realised all the kind of unethical shit that goes with it. But anyway, don't judge me, please. I'm just a poor independent author. So I did it. I fucking uploaded my manuscript, created a front cover, which was a picture that my neighbour took, and just said, "Can I use that?"
Right.
Because I saw it and I was like, "That's the front cover of my book."
Yeah.
And self-published, got my mum a copy, as I said I would, and yeah, people started buying it, and the rest's history.
Are you gonna? Is there any more in the Granville series?
There's 3/4 of the third one.
Oh, you've started writing it then?
I started it a while ago.
Okay, yeah.
But since baby number 2 came along,
Of course.
that's what I was saying before about that instant gratification of poetry. I'm
Yeah.
getting what I need from that in terms of therapeutic processes, connection with other people.
Yeah.
But I really don't want to lose what I've created, and it sounds a little bit weird saying this, but there is a few people that have read and invested in book 1 and 2, and it needs finishing. So
Definitely,
I am
man.
going to
Yeah.
finish it. I just need to find the time to finish it. Yeah. So I've got a couple of people reading 3/4 of it at the minute. Just like, if I
Okay.
put that out, if I put it out, and they give me feedback, that will make me go, "Oh right, I need to finish it."
Yeah, definitely, man.
He says.
You don't want the whole Game of Thrones thing though, when someone starts making a
yeah.
series of it and you're like
No,
catching up.
What a shit ending that
Yeah,
was,
that was
wasn't
terrible,
it?
wasn't it? So
I've been watching Gogglebox recently, like some older ones, and it like got to the series of that, and it was like just like coming back to like an old nightmare or something. I was just like, oh, just
all
like
that time. All that time.
Years.
wasted, man.
I know. I read an article about classic series, and people saying that the scale of just how shit Game of Thrones ending was can be found in the fact that nobody talks about Game of Thrones.
It's
as
true,
being
man.
A greatest ever series,
Yeah.
because it was fucking brilliant up until that last bit.
Yeah.
And that's just written everything off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when it happened, and then people were like, right, well, if we like petition, maybe they could refilm it and then sort it out. I was like, it's done, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's dead.
Let it go.
Let it go.
But that's
man.
how much people invested in it.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah.
Read the books, Is he
You read
still
the books?
Oh, yeah.
Jeez, I tried. I read half the first one.
Yeah.
And they were great.
They're pretty dense, though.
Well thick.
Yeah.
Well thick.
Well thick.
Yeah.
Is he dead yet? I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised. Do you know what I mean? George R. R.
George R. R. Martin.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. What a weird way to sort of mask your inner perverse nature to write about kind of all the weird shit that he wrote about. Yeah.
Because you got to be drawing from
Yeah.
something.
But then everyone
what I
likes it
mean?
as well, which also kind of says something, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Everyone
no,
like
yeah.
super loves all the.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
yeah, there's loads of weird sex things in there. I know, but the storyline's great.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just bypass that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get
It
past
is
that.
juicy. Though. Yeah.
It is good, man. I was going to ask you, like, so obviously you were talking about your poetry writing process and stuff. Is it like a similar thing when you're writing the book, like, or like how do you sort of go from like the concept of the book into like actually starting to slog away
Yeah,
at
I
it?
think it's a little bit more thorough. But
Yeah.
no, that's not. It's a little bit more drawn out.
Right.
Yeah, it takes a little bit more to plan out. Like empty in my head and then piece it together for a poem is like, don't know. It's like you can see it all in the one shot. Whereas with a book, it's
Yeah.
like you can't see it all because you have to turn your head to look at the start and then the end. So I kind of just develop checkpoints and
Right.
then build
Okay.
detail around those checkpoints. Try and make sure that I'm creating tension. And like with the I try and follow the same pattern within each chapter, which is create a bit of tension and then finish with a little something.
Right. Okay.
Give the reader some kind of progress. So each chapter is a step in the story, and you build towards whatever that might be, and then at the end there's almost like and this is the bit of story development
There's a
for
little
this
nugget.
chapter.
Yeah.
So you move on. It's like you're almost nudging it along. So I try and build checkpoints. So it's not the most technical method, but
Wow,
that's
man.
kind of what I do.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, I think I struggle because there's people out there saying, right, in order to be a writer, you need to write every day, and you need to just not you just get through your first draft and get it done. And I was saying before, weren't I, about progress, not perfection, and all that.
Yeah.
But fucking writing a book, right? I can't get past the paragraph unless it reads okay.
Okay.
So I'll kind of go back a couple of paragraphs and read through and be like, oh no, it's something not quite right there, and I'll spend a little bit of time. So it is a little bit stop-start for me.
Yeah.
I can't say that I get if I get 2 hours, I'll just bash out a few chapters. I might battle through one chapter, but then I guess the editing process is slightly easier. But
Yeah.
yeah, so it is a little bit tricky for me because for some reason I have this overwhelming desire to fix what I've written before I can move on.
That makes sense, though, man.
Yeah.
It's like you're finding like a river, like you find the flow, getting rid of the blockages, and
That's
like,
it,
where's it going to next? That definitely makes sense. And if that process works for you, man, fucking go for it, man.
Yeah,
Fuck
well,
what
it's
anyone
worked
else
so
says.
far. And like I say, the second book got shortlisted for Lancashire Book of the Year. So I was the first ever self-published author to make the shortlist.
Right. Okay.
There's a long list, as with everything. There's a long list of 70, 80 books, and then young people read them and vote, and there's a matrix, and then the top 10 get announced as a shortlist, and then they announce the winner. So I was the first ever self-published author to get on the shortlist, and then I've submitted they approached me and said, do you want to submit your sequel? I was like, oh, it's a sequel though. And like, we've had sequels before. I was like, fuck it, what's there to lose? Submitted that, and that got shortlisted as well, which is pretty fucking crazy.
Good,
really. There's no publisher, no marketing team, no editor, no anything. It's just me.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah,
I mean, Philip Pullman won the first ever Lancashire Book of the Year in 1987. So it's not like a school award or something.
It's got a bit of clout.
It's got a bit of clout,
Yeah.
And not many authors from Lancashire actually make their way onto the shortlist. So that was another bonus prize as well. So
nice, bro.
Pretty proud of that.
Yeah. I'm gonna read these books, bro.
Nice.
I'm really interested.
I'm a scathing review.
Yeah. Oh, no, I've had a couple of 1-stars. Most great. But I think when you've got the mind I seem to have, you remember the 1-star.
Yeah, but then everything gets that. Yeah. That would just be your rivals.
She described it as painful to get through.
Ooh.
When you say she,
Yeah, because it was.
Who was it?
I can't remember her name.
You can't.
now.
Oh, you should call her out.
Was she called Karen?
I remember. I can't remember her name, but I remember her address. If that's helpful. And I just thought it was right in the middle of all the bullshit, that was going on with COVID and the pandemic and businesses going bust and people losing their lives. And I just thought, God, I thought I'm really sorry that with everything else going on in the world, that my book has created so much pain in your life, but I'm starting to recognise that it's the reader's privilege to write and say what they want about the book. They bought it, read it, and they can say whatever they want. It's that's their experience, and that's just something as an author you're going to have to kind of carry. And there's so many more positive ones to focus on, or not even. It's not even the positive ones really. It's the useful ones. It's the ones that offer critique. That's helpful, that can help you improve or whatever. So for someone to just say it was painful can't really do much with that other than say sorry about that. Hope you're all right. Hope you and your cats are all right.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I've shown people with like something where I was like, I'm convinced it's one of the best things ever, and they've just like not got it. They just been like, this kind of sucks. And then so you think like, all right, well, what hope does anyone have then? Yeah, so there's no point taking anything like that.
No,
seriously,
no.
that to some
Part
people
of
will
the
be
course,
incredible.
isn't
Yeah,
I think it's a lot of people have their own things going on, and writing a review is maybe one way of making somebody feel a little bit better or whatever.
Good for them.
Cool.
Yeah, man. I definitely think I've started doing it more now. It's like if I think something is good or like I'm moved by something, it's like I make sure that I say something to that person.
Yeah.
Or, do you know what I mean?
Try and always do that, definitely.
Because I always think that, but it's like whenever it lands on you and someone says it, it's such like a lift,
It is.
and it's like it's so important to like, because everyone experiences self doubt about their own creative endeavors. Everyone does. So I think it's just so important to just be like, you're fucking nailing this right now.
It's my 20 pence. With
Exactly,
it's
man.
fucking good.
Yeah, exactly,
It
man.
means so much when you get it from someone else. I always try and be really like open about that. Sort
Yeah.
of thing. Definitely.
Yeah.
I had that earlier on. Like a friend of mine messaged me, just said, "Oh, I was going through your Instagram earlier, and I didn't realize you post all this stuff and it's beautiful and whatever." And it was only because I saw that message. I was like filled with self doubt at that point. I was like, I'm just gonna freaking give it, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything good, and I was like, oh, maybe it's that. So yeah, it's important.
We all need it, man.
Yeah,
we all need it. Yeah. Right, Nathan. I think we'll wrap this bad boy up.
Excellent.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, I've really enjoyed chatting to you. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
It's been great, man.
Ace.
So tell the people at home one more time where they can find your stuff online.
Best place is probably Instagram at Parker Words. Probably most active on Instagram. Do have a Facebook page as well, which is Parker Book. Or I've got a LinkedIn, Nathan Parker. If anyone's that way inclined, looking at workshops or anything school, college, community based, hit me up. But yeah, Instagram probably the best place.
Yeah,
most active on there.
Fair.
Ashamedly, my screen time is through the roof and mostly Instagram. So yeah, I'm kind of like, well, it's working it, justifying it to myself.
Yeah, we'll do that, man.
But yeah, Instagram.
Hit him up, man. Hit him up, people.
Definitely.
He's doing some wonderful things. He's got some great events coming up as well. Where are we, George? Keep flicking between these two things. We're there. So yeah, so go and check out Nathan's stuff. He's an absolute bloody genius. I do have one more question for you, sir. If you could sum this podcast up in 3 words, what would it be? Don't think about it too much. Just 3 words.
Welcoming,
Nice.
empowering,
Woo.
a joy.
We'll take our joy as well. Our dash joy.
Yeah, you can put that.
Joyful.
Joyful. So what? So that was welcoming,
empowering, joyful.
Beautiful.
That's lovely, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that,
Yeah.
Matt.
I'd go authentic and inspiring. That's what I felt.
How can I do it in 3 words? I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Fucking great as one, Northern as my second one, and Clout. Fucking great, Northern Clout. Bang.
I love
There you
that.
go.
That's 3 words.
So I've just got the task when I heard yours. I thought you meant like your podcast, your setup,
Oh, no,
not the
man.
individual
Yeah.
episode. So if it sounds like I was being like really egotistical, I think yes, this podcast
No,
is so
man.
fucking empowering. You know, I thought you meant your setup. That's why I was saying it's welcoming.
Oh, thanks,
It's
man.
empowering and it's
Yeah.
been joyful.
Thank you.
Well, if you wanna, if you wanna
You've
change it,
enjoyed
but I really
Yeah.
enjoyed those
Yeah,
3
totally.
words. I thought it was,
I was sold.
it's perfect. Well, thank you very much for
Yeah.
coming on
Thank you.
again,
Yeah,
man.
thank
It's
you, man.
been a real
Yeah.
pleasure. All the people at home, what camera are we on, George? All the people at home, subscribe to us on YouTube. We've got different creatives coming on every week. This month we're doing a 4-episode mental health special. We're going to speak into psychologists, mindfulness teachers, all sorts of people. So keep your eyes open for that. This podcast episode is going to be up in the podcast sphere, wherever the hell that is, pretty much straight away. So I hope if you're listening to this in the future that you've had a lovely day, evening, wherever you are. And we'll be back again next week with the wonderful Guy Connor, who's a very close friend of mine and a very wise man. So enjoy your day wherever you are. And thank you once again for having Nathan on the show. And thank you again, Matt. And thank you, George, at the back. You did good, man. You did good. Okay, we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast to catch up on new episodes every week. Also, check us out on our Facebook and Instagram at Rec Rooms, where you can find out about our other exciting music series. We also have this and all our other episodes of the podcast up on our Rec Rooms YouTube channel for your viewing pleasure. See you next time.